I'm a true believer that the technology can radically change the lives of people, and especially in a rural landscape. Get a replacement for a card, right? Right now, even now as we speak, it takes roughly about a week, right? So now with this, you can just walk into a branch, authenticate yourself. You can instantly get the ATM card or your credit card.
Hello, hi. Welcome to Dvara Tech Talks, our first video podcast episode discussing about everything tech and everything in between tech and how it reaches the ground audience. Today we have with us a very interesting guest, Mr. Balaji Lakshman, co-founder and CTO of Dvara eDairy Solutions. Hello, Balaji. How are you doing?
Hey, great. Pleasure to be part of the Dvara Tech Talks and kickstarting this year.
Absolutely. Pleasure is all ours. So, Balaji, before we go deep dive, can you give us a small introduction about Dvara eDairy and what it does?
So, Dvara eDairy, we are a fintech for dairy space. Our goal is to provide technology and solutions to bring dairy farmers into financial inclusion, especially around lending and insurance.
Okay.
Besides this, we essentially also have tools and services which enable them to improve their livelihoods in the entire dairy ecosystem.
Okay. So will I be right in saying that Dvara eDairy essentially acts as a bridge between dairy farmers, financial inclusion, and actually bridging that gap effectively? Would that be a good way of saying it?
Absolutely. So our larger goal in a way is to be that operating system for the dairy farmers and then connect them with everybody in the ecosystem so that their livelihood essentially increases. This may include lending, insurance, it could be many other things as we sort of go forward.
So basically, eDairy bridges the gap not only in terms of financial inclusion, but also creates a kind of structure for dairy farmers to scale up as well.
Absolutely. So our larger goal essentially is in terms of how do we make that one cattle, two cattle owner into that 18 to 20 cattle owner, right? And provide them with all the required support and services, so that they can achieve this, not just achieve this, but achieve this faster.
Faster. All right. So when we're talking about eDairy Solutions and you being the co-founder and CTO, it is quite inevitable for me to not go into your personal journey. So how did you get into tech? Where did it all start from for you?
So I was, I was born in Ooty. I used to always joke that, probably that's why I'm so cool. So I did my schooling in Ambattur, Chennai. So let's say in 4th standard, I had access to computers. And I, still remember, the first moment that I saw a computer where I was standing, where the computer was. Oh. So, and in 4th standard, I decided to be...
Love at first sight?
Yeah.
Okay.
In some sense, it was that way. And I decided this is what my life will sort of revolve around. So my interest in technology was pretty early, right? I still remember learning from Cunningham Ritchie, which is the sort of handbook for C programming, right? So
you had a very early start into
absolutely. Yeah,
fantastic field. Yes.
Yeah.
So if I'm right, your professional journey also included you having a company which was AI based, etc.
Yeah. So if I may probably include my college journey. So I did my undergrad in Velamar Engineering College. So there as well, it was I've been pretty lucky in terms of having access to multiple sort of things. I built my first robot when I was in my undergrad in probably 2003, and where the college sponsored 40,000, which is a pretty big deal then.
So it's a big deal then, yes.
Right. So where, I had to write a proposal and, that, we are going to build this humanoid and, which can sort of, imitate the actions of humans and sort of all that. And post that, I briefly worked in Wipro, working in the embedded systems. So, probably if you're using, Intel motherboards with the 5.1 channel, likely part of the code was written by me for the Dolby and DTS. So
wow, that's indeed a feat that you've achieved.
So So it's been sort of an interesting journey. And post that, I did my research at IIT Madras in computer science and in that machine learning and reinforcement learning. So that was sort of my major. I published 2 research papers in A+ conferences. And even in IIT, I had a fantastic support where we were able to build that robotics and AI lab. So we built a couple of robots there.
Okay.
Thanks to my professors, Dr. Ravindran and Dr. Kampoti. So we were able to sort of set up that lab with building robots and putting some intelligence, adding a lot of sensors. So also in that sense, my entrepreneurial journey also started from there.
Okay.
Where my first customer was Cognizant.
Oh, okay.
So I was very clear then that hey, that I should just give do a startup. So this is way back in 2009 or so, where probably the hype of startup or startup word by itself or even entrepreneurship to that extent was pretty early, and it was pretty fascinating to sort of build that initial project having Cognizant as the customer. So one of the early products that we had was a telepresence robot.
What would that be, a telepresence robot?
A telepresence robot is, imagine video conferencing on wheels, where right now all of us are essentially doing Zooms and Teams meeting, right? Where we sit in a place.
Correct.
But now imagine there is a robot in an offshore development environment where probably the customers or the on-site managers, they can log into the robot. So they will be visible on the screen and there are speakers and all that, and they can move around the offshore environment, go to different places, right? And talk to the people.
So virtually being present. That's a very interesting thing.
It would have been a fantastic hit through COVID, possibly.
That's true. That's true.
So this is very early in 2009 or so, and so what I sort of hear from the team later on was they didn't believe one bit that I'll be able to sort of deliver it. So when they started it, but they wanted to just give a shot, and it was pretty fascinating. Sort of build it, make it work. And Frank D'Souza, who's the CEO, he had come and he had a look at the robot, and we explored multiple sort of things what we could do around it. So this was one of the early projects that I had worked on. So if I may sort of continue in terms of what other interesting things that we have built. So one of the best of our products was a robot for banking. So it sort of got into the entire financial and banking space. So the idea was to build a sort of a all-in-one robot, which is like which can do all the activities that happens in a bank. So a branch in a bot. So that was sort of a concept. So can we sort of automate about 80% of the operations that engages customer in a bot? So this was sort of the basic concept. So basically, it had all the banking devices as part of the robot. And this was in 2012 or so, where we had integrated the fingerprint, and this is early sort of an Aadhaar time as well. And where we can sort of, so a customer can walk in, they can use the touch screen. So there's cameras, fingerprint. So typically they can create a bank account, use Aadhaar verification, and a bank account is created, and there is a card issuer, and a card instantly is printed along with their photo, right?
That's so you weren't joking when you said banking in a bot. Yeah. So everything is being handled by the bot here.
Yes.
That's interesting.
Or let's say somebody wants to get a replacement for a card, right? Right now, even now as we speak, it takes roughly about a week, right? So now with this, you can just walk into a branch, authenticate yourself. You can instantly get the ATM card or your credit card.
Yeah.
Right? Or let's say people can buy insurance or, authenticate themselves and, probably get, a couple of other banking services. So this was sort of the concept. And especially in the Middle East, it didn't stop with a standing bot. Imagine a customer launch where rather than the customers going to the kiosk or the robot comes to them. So, where imagine the robot comes from one customer to another, and they can essentially get the job done. So
that would be very interesting customer engagement too.
absolutely. So when we had built this and sort of gave a demo, a whole bunch of banks, they were extremely sort of impressed. But of course, everybody had this always feeling, are we way ahead of our time, right? So, and of course, we also had digital banking, which is sort of coming up, so to say. So this is how I sort of got into that financial space and banking space, so to say. And I had a fairly deep dive into the tech for the banking and financial inclusion, where I still remember working on doorstep banking, building that solution for doorstep banking, where both for the retail customers as well as the field level staff, where they can take this banking into the doorstep for the rural customers, right? So that was another pretty fascinating experience and gave me a lot of understanding of the banking domain and the financial inclusion, so to say. So essentially, post that, I was always sort of thinking I have been working more from a mid and top end of the spectrum, right? And I'm a true believer that the technology can radically change the lives of people, and especially in a rural landscape. And I also wanted to understand a lot more from a rural perspective. And I was sort of looking for some sort of an opportunity in terms of where I can build tech and help in some level of a transformation and financial inclusion in the rural space. And luckily had an opportunity with Dvara Dairy.
So what was your initial, let's say, initial 365 in eDairy felt like? How did it start? Can you give us like a little bit more insight into your journey and how you got fully absorbed into it?
I absolutely still remember my first day. Having a chat with Samir and Ravi in terms of, that these are some of the opportunities and these are the sort of problems that we could sort of work on. And day two, guess what? I was there in a rural village, standing next to a cattle, essentially getting into sort of a hands-on in trying to understand the rural landscape, trying to understand the cattle, trying to understand the dairy farmer. And we also have a joke running around where until you step on the dung of the cattle, your field visit is not complete. So in that sense, day two, we were on the field, essentially trying to understand some of the challenges for the dairy farmers. And obviously, as all of us know, the financial inclusion is one of the key aspects, where be it urban or rural, access to capital in terms of so that it can help them in achieving the aspirations of people is sort of key, right?
Absolutely.
So we were essentially looking at what are some of the challenges in the lending landscape. For example, one of the classic things was in terms of the same set of cattle being reused by multiple borrowers as their own cattle.
As their own, okay.
Right? So this is one of the key challenges.
Okay.
The second is in terms of the how do you know that somebody is a dairy farmer with a proof, and what sort of things that you have. Let's say you have the milk statement. But the challenge essentially is in terms of the availability of the milk statements was a huge challenge, right? And how do you understand and underwrite the dairy farmer, right? So we wanted to be that sort of a platform where on one side we had the dairy farmers, on the other side we had the dairy ecosystem, especially the lending institutions, banks or small finance banks or NBFCs, right? So we were looking at some of these problems. And
what were three problems that really struck out to you in terms of accessibility and inclusion?
So I used to still joke around saying that all that I knew was cow gives milk. So, and even that was wrong. So all the cows don't give milk. It's like lactating pregnant cow gives milk.
Yes.
Right?
In this episode, we met Balaji and had the opportunity to interact with him a little bit more detailed into his life, his passion, and how he came to be with eDairy. In our upcoming episode, we are going to deep dive a little bit more into eDairy's tech solutions and how it has impacted the last mile customers and helped them scale faster and better. So stay tuned with us for Dvara Tech Talks.